Golden? Golden? Golden?
They're calling out to me.
Golden?
I'm here. I'm here. Were you like, was I lost at sea? What was going on there? I don't know. All right, welcome everybody to episode number 19 of the Final Split. Guaranteed to be a good one because I'm sick and on lots of Dayquil. And and aside from that, these guys are already cracking jokes, so it should be good.
Episode where Spike had been to the dentist.
Oh, that was
Spike had been to the dentist. It's going to be kind of like that. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure that I can focus like on the screen in front of me, and we'll be good to go. But anyway, joining us as always in the red box is Spike Vegeta, who is zoomed in today. We got the zoomed in HD 1080p Spike Vegeta. How's it going?
You can see every individual neck beard.
That's right. Really... And if you guess the number of hairs in the beard exactly right, you win a car. So good luck to everybody. One guess only in the chat, please. We don't want to go too crazy. In our green box today, we've got kind of a special episode going on because we've got two guests in two different boxes in the same room. This has never happened before, I don't think. This is
we're breaking new ground here.
This is breaking new ground. Look at that. You can just dive right into the box there. Break all the illusions. Sinister One is joining us again this week. Sinister One, how's it going?
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Going well.
Good to have you. Making some last minute preparations before the show, but all good to go.
We gotta work him.
And joining him, sitting right next to him, our guest this week is none other than Mike. Mike, how is it going?
Going good.
Good to have you
on here.
I see Sinister One like.
I was gonna reach over and do something. I decided
you realize, yeah, you got to preserve the.
No, I was gonna do bunny ears, and then I remember I realized that his head is too high in the box, and you wouldn't be able to see it.
Oh, it wouldn't. No.
Yeah, it's the bunny ears.
That's right.
Bunny ears.
It wasn't because I was gonna be respectful.
You gotta work your way. That's right. You gotta work your way into the Skype call to get the jokes from now on. You're not allowed. The Twitch viewers won't know. All right. Well, we certainly brought the loony bin today, so I'm excited. Yes. I'm excited. Let's do it. Let's get this show started. Watch me press the wrong button to start the show. How about that? Am I gonna do that?
How many times is that?
That's the first time I've done it right in a long time. There we go.
Yes. We are back.
All right. So I guess the first topic of the day is one that I guess we're all interested in and excited about. AGDQ 2015 hotel search underway. I guess the question that I'm going to throw out there and let you guys kind of talk about is specifically what kind of things are we looking for in a hotel for AGDQ 2015?
Well, the Crown Plaza was great, but unfortunately they don't have enough space for the next AGDQ. And basically what I'm looking for is a hotel that has an airport shuttle, which makes travel much more convenient for everyone. Really cuts down travel coordination, makes it more convenient for everyone. Also, a hotel that fits our internet requirements and the amount of space that we need, which is greater than the 7,000 feet that we had at the Crown Plaza Dulles. And ideally, we'd want there to be some food options in the area, although that's not always a possibility. But I'm still looking into that because people do want to be able to get have cheap, affordable food options around the hotel.
Right. I think that helps a lot. I know everybody kind of remembers. I'm pretty sure it was SGDQ where like the IHOP was the only closest. That was a year ago, but certainly I felt like SGDQ this year too, having so many choices around was a good thing. So, what do you guys think as far as what are you hoping for as just a I don't know.
Well, I was hoping that the Rest and Hyatt was going to knock their price down, but apparently they're not.
Oh no,
they're not doing that.
Yeah,
they're selling high.
Okay,
they're selling very high.
Yeah, they have no fear of January and not being able to sell hotel space, so they're pretty confident. But yeah, that was one of the best locations. I grew up in that area, so I'm very familiar with it, and it's a shame that we're not going to get that one. I've actually been to some of the hotels. Some are better than others, but like Mike said, we kind of got to get just what's going to meet our needs, and none of them are going to meet our needs perfectly.
So that's the problem. like let's say we tried to do it at the Crown again, even if I set attendance cap of 500, 600, I mean, it worked out for AGDQ, but we'd still shut out a lot of people, even people, you know, who speedrunners regularly come to the marathons. Maybe they just forgot to register or something like that. You know, and while we might want to have an attendance cap, but we also want to be able to accommodate for the growth of the marathon.
Sure.
So, unfortunately, the Crown won't work out, even though it had airport shuttles and it was in a convenient area for restaurants.
So
also, people do bring up a good point. Fridges are another good consideration.
A lot of people in chat saying fridges, yeah.
If we're gonna pay for them, let's.
I was gonna say, I think a lot of bitter people from SGDQ anyway, like they got there, expected their fridge, and then didn't get it. But
I was one of the few lucky people who had a fridge.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you want to say that now. Everybody's gonna be jealous, but
yeah. Well, there were other people who had fridges. Mostly people who got rooms that they weren't supposed to be in because the Crown.
Sure.
Denver screwed up.
So let me ask.
It's confusing for people because we went to 2 Crowns this year: the Crown Dulles and the Crown Denver International Airport, and they're kind of opposite because the Crown Dulles was a great hotel and the Crown Denver International Airport was a not so great hotel, to say the least.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty unanimous opinion. So, like, I guess, you know, obviously you said you're trying to, you know, please so many different. Not just people, but also, you know, trying to factor in what is most important. Like, when it comes down to it, what ultimately are the fundamental must-haves? You know, obviously internet connection comes to mind as, you know, if they don't have a good
internet
enough one, we're not gonna...
connection is a definite must-have. Space is another must-have. And I would honestly say that airport shuttle over food, just because it's one thing if people have trouble getting food and there's only takeout and limited food options, but it's even worse if people can't even get to the hotel in the first place.
Okay.
And then food is definitely a strong consideration, but I don't know if we'll be able to get a hotel that has really great food options like the Crown did.
They're tough to find, and you know, it's going to come down to people are going to have to start carpooling a little bit more, kind of like the old days.
Yeah, there's also shuttles at the hotel, and I'm going to make sure that there'll be shuttles arranged
and delivery. Delivery used to be more of a thing.
Yeah. If anyone remembers the 4-H center,
yeah.
I think everyone remembers delivery. The huge 10+ people orders.
Hundreds of pizza boxes, the pizza box towers
the pizza
that people
tower.
would make. Yeah,
I wish I had a picture of that on me.
Yeah. So I guess are there any leads at this point as far as like this hotel is pleasing us so far, or is it still kind of up in the air?
The 2 hotels that are standing out to me so far are the Hilton Dulles and the Sheraton Reston.
Okay.
The Sheraton Reston is actually including free breakfast in their rate.
Ooh.
Which is nice. They do have a 24/7 cash kiosk, and their sales manager is actually familiar with groups like ours because he used to handle some anime conventions that were in a hotel that he used to work at. So he knows that nerds are to be tactful, price-conscious people.
There you go. He's got the familiarity. We won't scare him when we walk in with all our consoles and everything.
Exactly. The only thing is that it does have a pretty good amount of space, but I don't know if it's enough space to stay for another year. And also the main ballroom is a little small. Because one thing that was nice about SGDQ, I mean the main stream room was a little too big, but at the same time there was enough space.
Right.
And also there are shuttles to a nearby area called Reston Town Center, as Sinister One and I were talking about, which has a lot of food options.
Sheraton's the one that has like a Chili's and some other stuff in the parking lot?
Yeah, there's not a lot, but there is some stuff in there. All right. What's also looking good is the Hilton. They have a lot of space. They have fridges in the rooms. The Sheraton actually does not have fridges in their rooms, except upon medical request. They have plenty of space. They have a big ballroom. It's like an 8,000 square feet ballroom. And we divide it up, which four ways if we need to. And their internet and their space, and it looks like that they're willing to accommodate us. The only thing is that it's in an office park, and there's really not any restaurants within walking distance. Okay. So it'd be delivery, take a shuttle, if you have a car, take a car. that's definitely the worst part about it. And I still need to follow up with them on breakfast and the like.
Now, as far as feedback goes, is there a way for people to express opinions on the hotels, or is it still kind of too early yet to kind of say, I'm thinking this would be a good choice or that would be a good choice? Is there an opportunity for people to jump in and help out with that?
A lot of people are just saying some opinions in the forum. That's probably the best place for now. I'm still looking in other areas. I mean, key is an airport shuttle because it's really difficult to coordinate travel with, over 500 people. And I think it's important that we have a hotel that has a shuttle to it just so that we don't have to be worried about people making it to the event, because a lot of people won't be having cars. So I've also been looking a bit in the Baltimore area, where Baltimore Washington Airport is. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like the area near National Airport, which is Crystal City, has any space available for all 10 days that we have. But to be honest, that's a pretty expensive area too. So I know because I live within that area.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
For any of these, one question I have is, for any of these hotels, these kind of the ones that stick out to you, do you have a rough idea of possibly what kind of attendance cap we are looking at for this year, considering there's a very high chance that might kick into effect?
I haven't 100% made up my mind, but it's within the range of 800 to 1,000.
Okay, yeah, and that's I would think a pretty reasonable number considering the growth. I mean, it's got to be really tough to predict how many people are going to show up.
Yeah,
nowadays,
I mean, so to give some reference, like before this year, AGDQ generally grew about 50%. It went from 50 people to maybe 80 to 90 people to about I guess 150 or so people if you include all the people who visited in 2013, and then it grew to 500 plus people.
Right.
And like I don't think it's going to grow like over three times again, but at the same time, I have to be prepared to accommodate at least a couple hundred more people.
Right. Interesting. Okay. Well, obviously this is still really early in the planning process, so
yeah. I mean, hopefully I'll have a hotel settled by this month.
Okay.
And I think that'll be a possibility. I just have to look around a little more and see what people are offering and how willing they are to go down, because I can tell you that if we went to that Hyatt in Reston, I would have to make the attendance fee something like $125 or $150 to cover costs, and that would just be awful. Like that would just be so bad.
I think we all, you see the head shaking, like.
I see Spike's reaction. It's like, I will kill you if you do that.
That's it.
Don't do that.
All right, let's move on, guys. It's time for this week's Clippy Clip. Taking a look at a run that generated a lot of buzz earlier in the week for a couple different reasons. So this run here that we're looking at is allegedly, and that's going to be a key word here, a Super Mario World credits warp run. This is Jeff W., who has been attempting this for a while now. Why I say allegedly is that there are some concerns that this type of run might not be legitimate, and that's where the discussion comes into play. It's possible that a couple different scenarios here. The first is that this run is just straight up not legitimate. The second possibility is that he's actually playing on BizHawk, which is an emulator that is prone to error and could introduce possible ways to get to the credits that aren't actually in the cartridge console version of Super Mario World. So this is potentially a run that is the result of the emulator that he's playing on. But nonetheless, it's really a fascinating idea that somebody would be able to do this in real time and warp to the credits here. You're kind of looking at the final minute of setup. So the discussion that happened earlier in the week, at first, it was just kind of a reaction to this run happening in the first place. But then some taskers were quick to point out just the complexity of it. And so we ended up getting some interesting information from some of them. Master June actually posted a paste bin detailing what you would have to do to be able to do this in real time. And basically, long story short, there's a lot of pixel precise things that would have to happen to the point where he was kind of believing that this probably isn't plausible. And then to complicate things further, there's not a movie file. He had done the run on emulator, but there wasn't a movie file for the testers to kind of, look at in retrospect to try and analyze it. So I guess my question here isn't so much is the run legit or not, but what are your thoughts in general about just kind of here's this run and here's how we're going to analyze it. What were your thoughts on how it broke down over the last couple of days? If you guys had a chance to pay any attention to it. I know this is one that a lot of people had opinions on, so.
Thank God for Tassers. That's what.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Regular people like us wouldn't have figured it out.
Right.
We might have been suspicious, but we would have been like, how can we know? And then
Exactly.
the Tassers are like, this is how we know, because it requires 6 pixel perfect inputs here, and then you do these 4 tricks, and then you do 10 more pixel perfect inputs.
Right.
And
And you have to hit like 3 buttons within like 6 frames of each other
Yeah,
in
so-
the
Yeah.
exact frame.
Oh,
and,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it's not so much to say like, oh, like look at this guy, he's a cheater. Like I'm not trying to imply that by introducing this topic. I mean, for all we know, there is the possibility that this was legitimately executed. But I guess what's more interesting to me is that the taskers kind of jumped on this and said, hey, we kind of don't believe it, and we're going to analyze it and try to figure out, what is the likelihood that this could even happen. If somebody put their effort into it.
usually when something's too good to be true, it is. So
Yeah.
I think this is just one of those scenarios, and the guy kind of came out of nowhere situation. That's always like a red flag when somebody just kind of comes out of nowhere and you don't see a progression. Like, progression is important.
I would say it's more of a yellow flag. I mean, because if they stream and the then it's.
Well, but I'm saying if it's,
Right. Yeah, but if
the lack of progression.
Yeah.
Somebody
Sure,
comes
sure.
out of nowhere, lack of progression.
Yeah, worth noting too that this run was the first run of the day, so to speak. It was kind of one of those like I just went live and I just got this. So
Got out of bed.
it's a very very mysterious run regardless, but I think it is a fascinating one because for a while, there was when that task was first released, I think it was like a minute and a half long, just the credits warp, and I think there was some fascination there with the idea that someone might actually attempt it in real time, regardless of whether or not you could actually do it. Just the idea that somebody would devote time to try to figure it out. So, whether or not this was that instance of it, I think that the publicity around it and just the way that the community handled trying to figure out the legitimacy of it, I think that kind of gives some attention to the category, which I think is cool. I think a lot of people will be more interested to find out more about it, doing research or whatnot, maybe watching the tasks just to see what it does. Maybe not ever reaching the point where somebody tries to do it in real time, but at least I think it's kind of cool that in a way it sheds some light on the category and the run. That's my thought.
Yeah.
Anybody else got any thoughts on that one?
I just like to see the Tassers stepping in just to give some feedback, if nothing else. We always talk in our communities, like, I think a lot of outside viewers have this idea that there's speedrunners and then there's Tassers. And it's just nice to see them be able to come in because I've actually, we've heard of some people stepping in, people like Dram who have defended this guy and said, no, this is legit, this is all good. At the end of the day, I love Dram. I have a lot of respect for him. I have a lot of respect for a lot of speedrunners, but I trust the knowledge that speedrunners have. It's that much more for Tassers. Just the immense, deep knowledge they have of their games. So certainly shed some light on some things. Can't really, I'm not going to comment on the legitimacy of the run.
Right.
But
yeah, I think that's kind of the important thing here for me, at least. I know some of you are saying like red flag, yellow flag, whatever the case may be.
I didn't know Dram vouched for this guy. That makes things a lot more interesting.
Yeah, and actually, let me add a little more interesting to the pot here. So the run itself, you can hear the controller clicking in the background. So,
well,
ooh.
I don't want to derail this topic, but I've had experience with people cheating, and the people will go to great lengths to convince others that they are legit.
Yeah, and that's part of the grand mystery of it all, I guess, is trying to figure out what can you believe and what can't you believe. So it's interesting nonetheless. I don't think we'll harp on it too much more here, but it was certainly a talk of the internet earlier in the week. So
absolutely,
thought we'd pass that along to you guys, and hopefully we'll see some more interest in SMW maybe as a result. So let's move on though, guys, and use this as an opportunity to kind of pick Mike's brain. We'll move on and interview Mike. I know, yeah, he's like, no, not my brain.
Your brain is not
Sinister One, can you reach over and pick his brain?
Can you literally?
He can. I mean,
yeah, there you go.
Do it.
There we go. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, what did you find? Anything good?
But you're in 2 different boxes. How does that happen?
Oh man! And by the way, whoever rated us, that's quite the raid.
This is a pretty serious raid.
It's been going for quite a while, so thank you guys so much. Hopefully, some of you guys.
I'm assuming this is ESA. What is?
I assume it's ESA.
Yeah. Welcome everybody that's been watching ESA. We're actually going to talk about ESA in just a little bit, so stick around for that.
It's right there. It's right there.
I guess that's maybe a first question that we can jump into then, Mike, is just. Is there anything about ESA that you're looking at in particular, just to see, how does it go, and could we incorporate it into a GDQ? Is it a passive experience for you? What are you looking at specific things from ESA?
I definitely watch ESA. I mean, I would be lying if I said, I watched it, like every day for 6 hours a day. But I definitely keep tabs on it, see how they do things. I do like their layouts. Their layouts are really nice. My only complaint with the layouts would be that the text is a little small.
Okay.
And that the four-way race layout, it's color coded, but it would just make way more sense if they just put it in the 4 corners. But aside from that, I do like their layouts, and people are taking pictures of the layouts so we can see how we can tweak them and stuff and the like. But yeah, I do keep tabs on it just to see how they're doing. I was interested to see how the second stream. How that worked out.
Sure.
And just how they were doing everything.
Okay, so it's fair to say that there's potentially.
I guess
to be learned
if
there.
you want me to say something, I'm more interested in the logistics behind it and how their setup goes, rather than a lot of games themselves.
I think it's really interesting what they're doing over there, and I guess we'll kind of delve into ESA specifically a little bit later. But so I'm trying not to prod too much this early because we're going to get there in a minute. But so outside of ESA, obviously, I guess one of the big changes that happened this year was Rom Scout kind of stepping up and getting to have control over SGDQ. How did that affect you? Did it have you noticed any benefits as the result? It's a little bit easier on you. What did you think of the job that he did, and how does it affect AGDQ, I guess?
I think he did a really great job. I had him helping me out with SGDQ 2013, and he did a pretty good job. And he did a great job of taking the reins. And I definitely took a break after AGDQ. I was definitely burnt out after AGDQ and had to take a break. But once I got back into things, people ask me at SGDQ, how was it, taking a break, because Rom's taking over SGDQ. And it's well, I'm taking a break, but I'm also not taking a break because I have to go over the finances and do equipment purchases and and certain logistical things, just to see if everything arrived there, and how to store everything for the next marathon. But at the same time, it was great having him run this marathon, because he did a great job of dealing with all the main marathon stuff, dealing with the schedule, talking with sponsors, that sort of thing.
Right.
So it was definitely a good way to, I guess you could say, split the duties, and he definitely put in the work. So I think he did a great job.
Do you see yourself in the near future, or at some point, maybe a few years down the line, being able to say you have nothing to do with organizing SGDQ? Because obviously, like you said, you still had to put in some work, but you just didn't have to be at the head of it. Would you like to get to the point where AGDQ is the only, SGDQ, all you got to do is offer your games or come and play Fighting Masters or whatever you want to do?
Well, Fighting Masters is a very important responsibility.
No, I'm not taking that away from you. That's a big deal.
But I don't know, maybe in the long term, but at least for now, I would prefer to at least be somewhat involved, just to see how things go, just to make sure all the logistics are down. But I mean, maybe in the future, once things are more settled with SGDQ, then I could like pull back a little more.
Sure.
Yeah, is it? I guess this is kind of a easy follow-up question to that, but is it safe to say that you enjoy to some extent just being involved in making sure things are going well, and you whether or not it's your project at the end of the day, it's something that you enjoy just logistically making sure it's all there?
Yeah, I do. I do enjoy making sure it all goes well. I'm not, obviously I don't have the experience that all tech people do, but I have enough experience to make sure, like, on some level to make sure it goes decently, or just make sure that, like, people are getting replaced at the donation station and stuff like that. Just little things here and there.
Sure.
All right.
I think even if I pulled back, I wouldn't be able to stop myself from helping out the marathon.
You always gotta. Sinister One.
I'm gonna ask you to break out your crystal ball, Mike, and
tell
me. We are gonna look into the future. We are gonna peer into it and see what does AGDQ 2020 look like. Tell me. You're looking at AGDQ 2020. What's happening there?
The internet will be dead.
I love this question. All right.
We're gonna.
Wow. I was thinking you would go maybe like 2017. Or like
no. This is 6 years from now. We're gonna dig up an archive of this. It's gonna be. They're gonna take down this episode from YouTube, and someone's gonna have it like stored on their hard drive somewhere. Yeah. Be like, I remember that prediction.
Yeah, exactly. On these old things they had called computers.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You know what? I guess for 2020, the thing is that I think Nintendo would still be popular, but I think you'd see more room for more modern games such as Halo, maybe even some Call of Duty games, because even though those are more famous for the multiplayer, there are, maybe by that time, like, people will have more nostalgia for them, and, like, because I know there are people who are into the story for Call of Duty. Not a lot of us, obviously, as of right now. I mean, it'll just be interesting to see how the community shifts, but at the same time, like, I'm sure you'll still have at least some people, playing Super Metroid, some people still breaking down, like, NES, Super Nintendo games, and maybe by then they'll all have wrong credits warped, so everyone will be tired.
That's right. All the old games will be done, and no one will want to play them anymore. So.
Well, let's throw some numbers out there. What's the viewer count looking like at that
in
point?
2020?
In 2020. Man. I'm picturing, like,
20. Oh my god, that is so hard to predict.
I'm picturing, like, ESPN2. I'm picturing,
There we go. See, Golden's thinking big here.
Yeah, that's right.
So the numbers would be 20 in terms of average viewer count.
No, that's tough to predict, though, because, I mean, obviously, one of the things that I think contributes to the viewer count being so high is that speedrunning is still relatively young in an internet sense. It's for many people, when they tune into a GDQ still, it's the first time they've seen a speedrunning anything, right. not just a marathon, but just anything related to speedrunning. So there's still that kind of element of surprise that, oh, this exists. I didn't know that. But yeah, I don't know how long that persists, or does it just go up from here, or does it reach a point where everybody's seen it?
It was interesting because Sinister One and I were talking about it a bit yesterday, and we were thinking that it might plateau at some point, but when that point is hard to tell.
Yeah. No, I think that point of... Go ahead. Spike.
Oh, I was going to say, well, let me put a little twist on Sinister One's question and ask what you want to see by 2020. What's your, like, big, ambitious... I'm not saying these are your answers, but you want to see a second stream. You want to see us fill a stadium. You want to see us get on some sort of, I don't know, TV or something. I don't know. Like what's your big,
I don't know
ambitious...
about a stadium, but I think it would be cool if we could have it on a stage, but yet we somehow keep the couch in kind of the dudes on a couch feel.
Sure.
And then, but with, like, kind of professional broadcasting equipment.
Well, yeah. So I guess just to pull up an example, obviously DreamHack wasn't the big thing everybody kind of hoped it to be, but I mean, this was kind of the first year that they did that, and I think when they were in that arena setting, that's kind of what you're talking about, right? Just being able to present it to an audience that's sitting perhaps in, like, a theater style setting, but then at the same time still having room for people who are doing the commentary and such to be on the stage. Is that kind of what we're getting at here?
Yeah. That could be. I mean, like I said, it's so hard to predict.
Yeah.
I mean, if you told me at Classic Games Done Quick, for those of you who remember Classic Games Done Quick, that this would. I remember Classic. Yeah, you do because you were there. But yeah, so Classic Games was the first marathon, and we were on Ustream because it was back before Twitch even existed.
That's
back
right.
when it was just Justin TV. And the reason why we use Ustream is because it was the superior option. This is not a joke. It was the superior option. Because Justin TV, once it got up to 1,000+ viewers, it would start booting off people who were outside of America because their international servers couldn't handle it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, if you told me that, like that, that you'd be doing, you'd be doing this, as an event, and like you'd be working on it, practically full time, and that it would grow to have like an average of 60,000 viewer count, I'd be like, shut up. I'd just be like, no.
Right. No, that's one of those things that you're just like, everybody dreams about it, but
yeah, exactly.
Who knows that it'll actually happen. So that's really cool. Go ahead, Spike.
I've never been like a think big kind of person. I've just been like, okay, let's try to get through the next year kind of guy.
Yeah. Spike, did you have a question? I don't know. I thought I saw you earlier.
Oh, I think I got mine out. So
okay.
I think I did it anyways. Yeah.
I was going to say, since
I don't have one right now.
There you go. I'll save you since you brought up Classic Games anyway. Having been at so many of the marathons, are there favorite moments of yours from marathons past? Maybe ones that we wouldn't know about or that might not be as familiar to everybody else. Like just from your perspective, what's been the most enjoyable?
For Classic Games, I think my favorite moment, outside of, Frezzy Man ripping off his shirt, I think was just after I slept for like an hour or two the first day, and then I realized nothing exploded.
Okay,
like,
sure.
Nothing blew up. The world didn't end. It was still going.
The marathon was still there.
Exactly.
That's the thing to everybody watching these marathons. Oh, I loved this run, or oh, this was such a hype moment. For you guys, just organizing the darn thing, just nothing broke.
Yeah,
we did.
It's still functioning.
I remember during the Mega Man 6 race, people were complaining that no camera during the race, and our concern was more, oh my god, this $2,500 camera, please still work.
Yeah,
please. Still work.
Our money.
Exactly. Fortunately, it still works.
That's good. Yeah.
Cool, Maddie had to perform some surgery, but
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
It ended up working. Okay. But yeah, even with like how like tumultuous some of the setup for some of the marathons have been, and the like, I've never felt like there's been a disaster at a marathon. In the sense, or if there has been, then we've dealt with it really well. It's just really CGDQ, because it was the first one. I was so stressed out of my mind, I had no idea that was even going to happen.
Sure. At
one point, that it was just like, when I realized that it happened, and like, we even beat our lofty goal of $5,000. Like that was, and I'm not kidding, that was a high goal back then.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine, like, what did it feel like when you got to walk up in front of everybody at AGDQ and announce $1 million? I imagine that was pretty special.
That was amazing, too, because it's like, wow, it had come so far since being in my mom's basement. And Tracker 1.0, which is just like this sheet of paper that has a bunch of, like, donation incentives scrawled on it for Final Fantasy VI in SMK's handwriting.
You got somebody, playing fantasy speedrunning there, keeping track of the dollar amounts on some notebook. Interesting.
That sounds like fun.
I got a question for Mike.
Okay.
I actually asked this question to Mike a long time ago, and I want to see if his answer is different or if he even remembers.
Okay.
If you could be, and you guys can answer this question too after Mike's done. If you could be the best at any speed game, which one would it be and why?
I remember my answer to this.
Do you?
and I think I just gave you the answer because I wasn't too sure what to answer at the time.
Yes, I kind of thought that.
Because I said Super Metroid, and that's not really true.
Okay.
And don't worry, it's not Ernest Evans. Or do worry because it's not Ernest Evans.
Well, no, you're already the best in that.
Right. Actually, I'm not. I don't have the record in that.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. Well, but anyway, go ahead.
I am second best, though. I think, and this is going to be a really strange answer, but I think it would actually be Shinobi for PS2, because it's not a game that a lot of people speedrun, but it's a very technical and fast game, because there's really no downtime in the stages, and it's constant action. And because I'm more of an action and beat 'em up kind of guy, there's lots of combat in it, but there's also a lot of tricks and stuff you do here with a lot of skips and the like, and it's just very, very tough and unforgiving, and that's kind of what I like about the game. I've never really gotten around to practicing the game, but it's just like, if I had the time, that'd be the game that I'd want to practice.
All right.
Interesting.
So there, I gave you a real answer this time.
Nice.
Years later.
That's right.
I got the truth.
Now you got to ask him one more time, like a year from now, just to make sure that was.
Right.
He wasn't joshing you a second time. There you go. Yeah.
Now, Mike, I got to ask you, going forward, all of a sudden the calendars have been flipped. All of a sudden we're in August, and we're 2 weeks away. It was supposed to be originally AGDQ Games Topic was going up yesterday. Got pushed back to August 16th. There have been people talking about they still would have liked to see the Games Topic move back even further. I guess if you'd like to either defend or say whatever you want to say about the Games Topic.
I don't really feel like I have much to defend, but I think no matter how far I pushed it back, people will be like, I wish I had more time.
Right, everybody wants
a
little more time.
I think I know for next year we want SGDQ to be in July sometime, and I know that I don't want to push back game submissions any later than the middle of August, because you have to consider that, not only, do I have to go through the games, then I have to go through another round to make sure that there's only so many games so they can fit on the schedule. I have to schedule it, and then after that, there's prizes, and then we have to consider, sponsors that are related to the game, and I know we're actually gonna have the Gildersleeves doing the trailer for AGDQ instead of Cool Maddie, because Cool Maddie doesn't have the time for it because he's so busy, and that Gildersleeves also wants to do block videos like the couple they did at AGDQ, and so it helps is that he has lead time. And if you don't know Gildersleeves' work, he does a lot of videos for the Sunday Sequence Break. He also did some of the videos like the Mike Tyson's Punch Out and the Awful Games video for AGDQ, and he does really good work. It's really creative, and he's definitely really motivated to be a part of the team. So I'm definitely excited to see what he has. But it's not just getting the games up, it's all these logistical things.
Sure.
Leading up to the marathon, and you want to be prepared with more lead time ahead of time rather than at the last second.
And my follow-up question to that is just asking, I know there's a forum post about it that you can go look at, but if you like to just say, what can we expect different about the game submitting process this year? Are we looking at still having a submission form? Are we going to see the games posted on a Google document?
Yeah, it's going to be a submission form.
Go ahead.
It's sorry to interrupt you. It's going to be a submission form. It's going to be, if not a Google document, something similar to a Google document. Unlike previous years, I'm not going to try to respond to everyone's individual responses, because while that was nice, there's just too many. And by the time I was doing AGDQ 2014's game submissions, like my mind was just becoming a blur and I could barely answer anything. I was giving probably the most generic responses ever. And I don't think that was really satisfying anyone, including myself. So I'm not really going to give individual responses for why I rejected games unless people specifically ask me for it. There's just going to be too many submissions, and I'm just going to be too focused on do I want this game, or what category do I want for this game, and the like, to do it full on people's end. I know the description for SGDQ games was a little too short, and I agree, because I remember one of my descriptions, I typed it in and it got slightly cut off, and then I had to reword it a bunch. So we're increasing from, I think it was 250 characters to about 300 to a little over 300. And we're also putting in stuff like people's Twitter and their Twitch, and the console and the category just so it's stored in a database so that we don't have to search around for it.
Right, so it's all there and
exactly
can be brought up later. Makes sense.
Exactly.
Well, I guess unless you guys have any other questions, we can always make sure. I'm sure chat will have plenty of questions too later in the show, so we could just continue then and move on if you guys are all set. Did anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah, let's move on to Record Setter.
All right, let's do it. This is an appropriate one, I think. We haven't actually featured a lot of PC games on this show, but we're about to. This is Quake, any percent easy. Note that it's 12:56 in-game time, which I believe beats the previous run by about 3-4 seconds, something like that. And I don't know how to say this guy's name, so we're just going to take a guess here. I'm guessing it's got to be like Kookie. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, my guess was Kookie.
Kookie?
Yeah, my guess was Kookie.
Kookie? Okay, like that's Kookie. Probably better.
I'll go with Kookie.
All right.
Kookie?
I don't know. I guess I'm thinking of cookies. I'm hungry. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm sick, so I can get away with like butchering the name. But,
that's the day Quill talking. Don't worry about
exactly. But Quake, obviously, a game that goes quite a ways back, but still to this day being quite competitive. If I'm not mistaken, this record also signifies kind of a switch between nations of the record. Somebody might have to help me out with that one, but
because this was held by Cool Kid,
right.
Sweden, right? Yeah.
Right, and I believe we've got a Finn here.
Sweden. Sorry.
If I'm not mistaken, I don't know. Someone else might know. I don't want to throw out false information, but I do think that this was a nation change here. But a game that nonetheless is very precise. It's obviously all about the movement and grenade hops and all of that, what have you. Just a fascinating watch if you haven't actually had a chance to ever watch a Quake run before. This is a great time to jump in there. So we've got the link there on the bottom of the page, the replay, to watch the full run. One thing to note, too, is that you don't actually see the timer on the screen there at any point, but at the end of the run, I believe there's some sort of script running that reveals the final time. We're getting Norway? Norway in the chat? People are saying Norway? Is that correct? Okay. Well, I'll believe you guys. That might be wrong too.
Maybe we'll go with that.
Maybe you're leading me astray, but nonetheless, a really impressive run and kind of a major game, I guess, when it comes to speedrunning. You think of kind of the influential speedrun games.
And just definitely one of those kind of like the Cosmos Ocarina of Time run from a few weeks ago that I said, even if you don't like Ocarina of Time, even if you don't really care about Quake, this is such a good watch. It's also really short. Make sure to go check it out. It's pretty influential as far as speedrunning goes. Mike, I'm sure knows a little bit about
this
that.
is basically, one of the first games where they had like an actual speedrun community and actual like runs of it where people record it and people like took records and everything actually started logging the records and everything all the way back in 1998.
That's
so
quite the storied history, obviously.
And I know it was a little bit sad because for the longest time people weren't really playing Quake, and that was kind of like the original speed game, and I'm glad that people are back into Quake because it is really a great speedrun. It's very precise, it's very technical, it's very, very fast. There's pretty much no downtime in the entire run. And this record was for a single segment run or an RTA was long standing until I think last year when Cool Kid took it, and it's great to know that there's still competition in the game to this day.
Right, because I mean, outside of Cool Kid, prior to this run, there really wasn't much of an active community. I think in recent years, anyway. Might not be true, but we're kind of seeing a resurgence, if you will. If Cool Kid responds to this run, and there's some back and forth, maybe that gets some more people interested in it as well.
Yeah,
so always up for more, Cool Kid.
Yeah.
And normally we only do one record setter per week, but I think we would be remiss if we didn't at least give mention to DK28's Contra run. He got legendary.
Yeah, that's right.
958, which is like pretty much the list. Pretty much like 457.
It's not getting touched, right?
Like,
if it's not there, then it's 458 territory.
Yeah,
basically.
It's right in that ballpark. So that's pretty epic stuff.
I mean, reference Frezzy Man was saying, back when he got his 1017, about 6 years ago, he was going like, oh, sub 10 would be the ideal run, but I don't know if we'll ever get it. And well, we got it.
It happened, yeah.
It happened.
Quite a big week for records. I know Ohan took back Rockman 3 as well. I think by 1 second or less than a second. So
Checkers on that SMRPG.
Yeah, that's right. So who knows? It was a busy week nonetheless, but a really exciting week for records and such. So cool stuff. Check out the replay there. Again, the link is at the bottom of the page, but it's going away now because we're moving on. You'll have to watch the episode on YouTube if you missed it. It's time for Real Talk, guys. First up, we have a return of a marathon that we saw last year. This is Monkey Marathon 2 is happening in just a few weeks. August 15th is the start date. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's games all about monkeys. What do you guys think about this? I know a couple of us taking part in this here, but what are your thoughts on the Monkey Marathon that is to come?
I love it. I mean, obviously, I'm a Donkey Kong Country fan. The Super Monkey Ball runs are cool. But I love it for the fact that I feel like, and we've talked about this in the past, a lot of online marathons have tried to go the route of, I want to make a smaller GDQ and put it online. And I feel like there's a reason, and Mike would agree with this, people always ask, when's the fall GDQ? When's the spring GDQ? When are we going to have GDQs year round? I don't know if the speedrun community necessarily at this point, if we can handle having more than 2 GDQs a year. And what this online marathon gives us an idea, it goes back to your ABC to ZFG marathon from last year. I'm probably making up the name. But it's just something that you can, it's something we can just have fun with. It's a different kind of marathon. It's just about coming together and being excited about games, not necessarily worrying about, how big the games list you can make or anything. It's just, you know what? It's a marathon about monkeys. Let's just have some kooky fun, because we're gonna see our Donkey Kong Countries. We're gonna see our Super Monkey Balls. We're also gonna see some ridiculous stuff. I'm looking forward to something like, I don't know, King Kong 2 getting in.
King Kong 2, makes its appearance.
Good speed game. So I'm looking forward to it. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. Make sure to check it out.
Yeah, I'm going to echo those sentiments just because I kind of going along with what you said, one of the big concerns especially last year, I felt like we were saying this a lot, where there's really oversaturation of online marathons. Like every weekend you tune in and there's like 4 different marathons, and like how many more of the same marathon can I watch? But then along comes something like Monkey Marathon, where it's close enough to what you're used to, like you're expecting just a speedrun marathon, but at the same time, it adds its own flavor in that, okay, we don't feel like we need to have every generic, like we don't need all the Marios, we don't need all the Zeldas, we don't need all the, whatever it might be. We're just going to focus on, whether it's monkeys or, I know the dog marathon, Dogathon, happened, a year or 2 ago. It's just kind of a fun idea. Let's bring a bunch of people together and let's do it. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it should be a lot of fun. Anybody else thoughts on?
I like monkeys that roll. I like monkeys that are in a ball.
Those are my 2 favorite monkeys.
Is it no coincidence that like games about monkeys turned out to be really good speed games? Like that's kind of the other thing too.
Dude.
Yeah,
the Donkey Kong
Countries are fast, dude.
Monkey Balls.
They move around quickly, and they're agile. Like, it's perfect.
Well, outside of Donkey Kong Country and Super Monkey Ball, what else is there in the world of?
Well, there's Ape
Escape.
Ape
Escape.
Ape Escape.
Ape Escape.
I can't believe I forgot.
Those are legit.
Yeah,
Ape Escape is legit. Yeah.
Some big series. will make.
We already said it. King Kong 2.
King Kong 2 is the big game.
And I love how. And right now, beyond these like obvious titles, there's stuff like, I don't know. I think they're gonna maybe do Link to the Past because there's a monkey in it for 12 seconds.
Right. As long as the game has a monkey cameo, it counts. It doesn't have to be the main character.
Okay.
If there's a monkey somewhere in your game, you're in. I like it. So. Bioforce Ape is in there. I know a lot of people are asking about that. That's going to be in there.
We're getting in chat. Curious George. I'd watch that.
I think I'd watch that.
I would get fired from work not going in to watch a Curious George speed.
There you go.
That'd be great.
So yeah, that's
Toki counts, right?
Toki going ape.
Toki does count. He is going ape spit after all.
There we go. I think that counts. So
Mike confirmed for Monkey Marathon.
Oh no.
Yeah, so there's obviously a lot of hype about this. I think people are going to have a good time with it. Note the link there. It's the Monkey Marathon, not Monkey Marathon or something else. So pay attention to that. That's going to be, I think it's just in 2 weeks now, August 15th, the scheduled start date. So look forward to that one. But meanwhile, we have another marathon that you guys probably are familiar with at this point. We've talked about it a time or two on the show. It's ESA. And I guess I'd like to use this opportunity to kind of look at it now that we've had a chance to watch most of ESA, tuning in to both streams and whatnot and seeing kind of their layouts and how they handled it. What do you think went right for ESA, and maybe what are some things that they need to work on for future events? What were your takeaways from ESA? I guess let's start with Sinister One this time.
Okay, I'll start. Yeah, I watched a lot of ESA today because obviously the block, which I'm a NES fanatic, so I was all about that. But it was actually
any game that's younger than him, he's scared of. So
all right, so basically, but actually, it was a different NES game that really I thought brought the house down. That was the Mega Man 1 race, which was a 4-way race, and it just got the crowd into it so much, and it was a hype race. Like it could have been a super serious race, but they made it just more fun, even though it is a really difficult run. Like it's crazy difficult. Like, I think they did that right. Obviously, the layouts people have commented on, they really like the layouts. Yeah. Although I will say one thing about the layouts, it would be at times confusing in terms of races as to who was on which screen. They could probably they could fix, but that's like that's an easy.
I guess
that's an easy fix.
Let's just highlight that a little bit just to explain kind of, for people who maybe weren't familiar with it. So, I mean, they color coded each player. For the races,
but the colors weren't exactly obvious on the text, and
I had no idea till just now.
I recognize
it would have been more obvious if they just did it by placement.
Placement and color.
I think the
optimal.
No, I was gonna say, I'll be honest. I think the color coding is fine. It's just it wasn't as obvious or apparent right off the bat that's what was going on. I know they kind of color coded some of the icons, so like the person's Twitch ID would be there, and that would be next to like a purple flag. And then you would know that they were the purple player. But I think if like maybe the text itself was that color, or just there were more obvious colors, because I kind of felt like some of the colors kind of blended into the background too. Just little details like that keep it from. I didn't actually know they were color coded until someone told me. I've heard that a few times.
I'm seeing a lot of agreement in chat. Like I didn't know they were color coded.
Right. Yeah.
Aside from that, I thought the layouts are good. The only thing is that they're actually a little dark. If you actually use like a IPS monitor, you actually have a hard time like seeing the backgrounds, but that's also an easy fix. So, but aside from that, I thought they were really nice layouts.
Yeah, I mean, they pulled off the 2-stream thing. People were wondering, is this going to work? Are they going to have problems? Is it going to, And it seemed to work out fine for what they were going for. I'm sure they may have some ideas on things that they might want to change, but for a first time of trying something that big, it seemed like it went pretty smooth.
Yeah, I guess one thing I would add about this, the double stream that I noticed off the bat was that there was no real cross advertisement of the 2 streams. So if you were in on Yellow Stream and that was your stream, you maybe didn't even know of Blue Stream's existence because there was no reference of it anywhere on the layout. I would have liked to have seen just some reference somewhere saying, oh, also on Blue Stream, check out, or twitch.tv/ESA. There wasn't really any linking going on between the two. And I think sometimes you overvalue that when you're organizing these things. You kind of just assume everybody knows there's going to be those 2 streams. But I think I would have liked to have seen a little bit more reference of the 2 streams. But
I think that was a mistake, especially since the the second stream, the ESA stream, was a new stream, so a lot of people didn't know about that stream.
Yeah,
I would say one of the bigger
say
one of the bigger surprises was probably, because we were saying kind of you know, pros, cons, good, bad. Surprises, I would say the viewer count. I really was surprised that the viewer count was kind of on the lower end. I was really expecting a higher viewer count.
Yeah, I don't have specific numbers, but I wouldn't be shocked if the average was lower this year than last year, and I don't know.
I think that's a fair statement, yeah. I noticed.
I know part of it is that there are two streams, so I guess you could add the two together. But
I think even in that regard, the mainstream was maybe averaging a few thousand. But I know during Dark Souls it peaked at something like 14 or 15,000.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I don't know if it was higher. But
you know, we're talking about a live marathon with top tier speedrunners. This is something that should be getting more viewership, in my opinion.
I agree. I don't think that's an unreasonable statement to make.
I think part of it might have been lack of promotion, because aside from the Twitch email and some tweets here and there, I don't think there was a lot of promotion for the event.
Yeah, I think that was something else maybe to consider, is outside of, I know like front page, every now and then I've seen the yellow stream on the front page, but outside of that, I don't know that there's been any real promotion of the event.
And I think there was a Kotaku mention, though. I needed confirmation on that.
Yeah, so the other thing to think about too is that you know, ESA's measures of success aren't necessarily the same as what we would consider with a GDQ. So obviously, for them, I think it's more about, you know, obviously just getting to bring people together and do this in the first place. So I don't know that they even look at their viewer counts to kind of say, you know, was this successful or not? But I think your points are fair. Like, why didn't it get more viewers? It's a big deal.
I mean, that's something I honestly can't. I don't think there's an easy answer for that, except maybe a lack of promotion.
Spike, do you have any other thoughts on the ESA?
Well, I think there's a lot of positive things you can take out of it. I really do like the stream layout. You know, I don't know a lot about stream layouts myself. I've never had a problem with the GDQs in the past. No offense to Mike and the crew. But, yeah, I do think ESA had a very slick layout for the entire time. No, you should be.
Okay.
With the exception of bring out the fighting masters. All right. With the exception of, like, we already talked about the races to a certain extent, trying to understand. One thing I will say about the races, I kind of like that they tried something a little different, like the Mega Man 1 race. They made more of the focus the crowd itself. And the runners themselves, they took center, and you had the 4 different streams, the actual game feeds on the sides. So it was interesting to try that out. Again, you know, one thing we talked about SGDQ was trying to get up the room energy. Well, we got room energy. If you want to maybe not like some of the layout or anything about Mega Man 1, you got tons of energy. So it was still an entertaining watch.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite runs there, just because the room energy was good.
Yeah. And it was highlighted. Like the Super Metroid race, I think people are more going to remember that for, you know, Golden and Sinister's commentary, for just the skill of the racers themselves. But people probably couldn't pick up on the room energy. Again, no knock on the GDQs, but it was interesting just to highlight that differently and say, we're going to play to our strengths. We've got some goofballs in the room. We can make this work. We're going to get people behind different.
I'd like it if ESA did that more, because I feel like their strength is more as a hangout rather than as a charity event per se. So if they kind of highlight more like the fun, casual elements of it more, I think that would be better for them, because, you know, it's obvious they're not GDQ, and that's a good thing. You know, there should be an outlet for that. But at the same time, I feel like they should focus more on kind of the hangout and the more relaxed aspect of it, and less on the charity aspect of it, because I feel like they're kind of in an in-between right now.
Sure.
But
yeah, there's kind of maybe like some almost, I want to say like identity crisis, but, you know, it's kind of stuck in the middle where it's reaching just enough people now to the point where it's starting to maybe make that focus. Like, people aren't sure, like, can I clap for this game? I'm not sure. Like, is this
right?
Is this acceptable? That kind of thing. So
Sweden,
yeah,
Sweden,
it's okay, guys. You can.
That was so good. I love that.
Yeah,
yeah.
And the other thing, I'll go ahead and just point out one thing that I did like. I'm excited that Eden All and the crew decided to go with the second stream to try something out. My biggest thing that I took away from it was there were plenty of times where, you know, I was, I guess, on, you know, in the know. I knew to don't go to the Twitch page, go to EuropeanSpeedsterAssembly.com, and you've got the blue stream there, and I want to watch, okay, I'm on there, and I want to watch Dexter and Fesserish do the Ninja Gaiden block, but as it turned out, there happened to be Final Fantasy 13 going on the blue, whichever the yellows, the other stream was. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't care about Final Fantasy 13. I've never played the game, but I kept Ninja Gaiden up, and I was able to also look in at FF13 and say, hey, this actually has some merits. This has some cool stuff going on. So it doesn't mean, as opposed to if I had known if Final Fantasy 13 is coming on, a game I don't care about, I'm probably just going to leave the stream. I'm probably just going to go do something else. And now you got double the entertainment. You got something else going on your Platinum screen. You've got 5 other NFL games going on, but you can just watch this one, going off on a tangent. But I'm about to say, I turned into football just out of nowhere. It's fantasy football in the air. No, I really liked the inclusion of the second stream. You know, again, we didn't watch the entire week. I'm sure there was some awkward things going on. The biggest thing I would say, just going off of what Golden said for the second stream, is just more cross promotion and really letting people know, go to European Speedster Assembly to go watch both of these streams.
Right. And I feel like some of the stuff they tried on the second stream was really interesting too. And I don't know that it was, you know, I feel like it was too hard to judge whether it was successful or not successful, just because there isn't really a lot of, you know, support there to begin with, just because the second stream kind of seemed relatively, I don't want to say unknown, but relatively, it was kind of
under-promoted, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of what I'm looking for. So, you know, some of the stuff they had on there, the Sonic demonstration the other night, where they were just kind of explaining some of the physics of the game and how that can be manipulated in speedruns. I think Tampa did a task tutorial on one of the days.
They were doing more recaps, I know. Just, what did you think of yesterday's run? What did you think of the Mega Man block?
Yeah.
What did you think of the gun block? Sure.
And, you know, at times that stream kind of had a casual feel to it, where it was, okay, you know, this is an open block, play whatever games you want to. But I don't think that was necessarily a bad thing. Like, I guess that kind of invited in some runs that maybe otherwise wouldn't have had a chance to get showcased. I know Fuzzy did a Super Smash Bros. Melee adventure run, which was pretty cool. Just kind of having the opportunity to jump in and hey, this block is open to anyone that's got a run. I kind of like that idea. It was interesting, to say the least, and I think it was a welcome element to their event. Like, I think it added to it for sure. Any other thoughts on ESA? The chat's got quite a bit, but
yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure. Probably have a few questions with them later on as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, on that note, then I guess we'll move on. We'll talk ESA maybe a little bit more in Q&A. But our next topic is one that I'm so reluctant. I don't want to push this button, but I'm going to push the button anyway. Are you ready?
Has to be done.
It has to be done. Okay, I'll do it. I'm pushing the button.
The red button has been pushed.
All right, I pushed the red button. Sinister One, what's going on, man?
What's going on is that all good things must come to an end, and my time here on the final split is coming to an end. Not to say that I'll never be back. I might be back as a guest host, or
I hope you do
some
come back.
Other guest capacity, but unfortunately, as what happens to many speedrunners, real life interferes with all the fun and community aspects of speed gaming. So I'm having to take a step back, and of course, Golden and Spike will carry on and take the show to new heights, probably much higher once I'm gone. They'll be like, all right, now we can really get
now
this.
He's not holding us back.
We can kick this thing into high gear now, baby. So yeah, I want to say, obviously, thanks for having me on the show. I'm glad that I got to be a part of it, because I really enjoyed working with Spike and Golden.
Chat has the feels for you.
And chat, of course.
Chat's feeling it.
It's been really fun, and it's like, I mean, this is our 19th episode, which we didn't know how far it was going to go when we kind of started out. You know, Golden kind of had this idea and was like, well, what do you think? And I was just glad I got to be a part of it. And like, one of the funnest things that you guys don't really get to see is that every week we have this production meeting on Wednesday night where we kind of just have a Skype call and like I mean, half the time we're kind of just BSing around and just talking about random stuff, but and then the other half of the time we're actually planning the episode. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna miss that. Gonna miss being on the show. I'm sure I will still be a part of it though at times, like I said. So yeah, that's it. This is my last episode.
Well, I will say this: it's been a real pleasure having you on the show, and I feel like you kind of mentioned at the start of your speech, you're like writing it off like, oh, it's going to go bigger and higher after after I'm gone. Oh, please, that's not at all accurate. So I just want to point out, like, I guess to give people a sense of just how the show came about in the first place. It really was that Super Metroid race at AGDQ that kind of kickstarted the whole thing, because I kind of talked to Spike at SGDQ beforehand that year about the idea of doing something like this, but it never really kicked in and never really pushed me over the edge to want to do something like this until we had that experience. And I remember when we were first kind of pushing for this Super Metroid race with commentary at AGDQ, you said something in a PM to me on SDA, and it was like probably the most forgettable PM, but not to me. I don't know. I hung on to it for some reason. And you said something at the very end of the PM. You said, I don't want to do this unless we nail it. Like it's got to be, we've got to hit the nail on the head with this, and it's got to really resound to everybody, and they've got to be able to appreciate it at the end of the day. And I felt like we really did that with the Super Metroid race, and that's kind of what compelled me to ask you guys in the first place to jump on board and see what we could do with this. So, if it wasn't for that race, we probably wouldn't be talking right now.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
It was, this show's been a lot of fun for me. I don't want to speak for Spike. He might not be having any fun. He's just like standing in the red box there. But no,
I hate the color red.
Why am I finally get my green box? That's what he's
get my green box.
But
Spike's taking over.
Spike gets all of the Christmas colors.
There you go. That's right. But no, it's been a great opportunity to get to know you guys a little better and hang out every week like that. So I do hope that even though you're moving on, I hope you come back and visit, fill the box a couple more times whenever it works for you. But the box will always be there. Spike, go ahead. I guess it's over to you, man.
All of a sudden, Sinister says episode 19. All of a sudden, it's been 6 months.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I don't want to get you a bunch of stalkers, but if there's anyone that I was just excited to sit down, get some dinner with, have a beer with, it's Sinister. One of the coolest, nicest people in the community. Yeah, I know, right? I'm getting the feel. Yeah, you're great, bud. I love you, and I'm glad that we got to bullshit with each other on every Wednesday night. Half of it was stuff we can't put on the show.
That's right.
Just BSing about, football, ladies, whatever it might be about, drama that went backstage at the GDQs. It's always been a ton of fun, and
definitely.
I don't know. It's we can't replace you, but we'll keep having fun. So
yeah,
thanks.
Absolutely, nothing but love.
Speaking of that, are you guys gonna talk about that at all, or is that?
Yeah, so I guess we can kind of use this as an opportunity to explain to everybody in the chat too, just kind of what our plans are. So some people were speculating at the start of the show because I chose the rather unfortunate title. This is the farewell. The show itself will continue on. We're going to still be here. But for the next few weeks, while we try to figure out what we want to do, you might see some other faces occupying the green box there. We'll probably do some rotations, just get some other people in there, give people a chance to be on the show. And then from there, we'll kind of see what works. If that format's working, we're going to keep going with it. If there's maybe somebody who we think would be a good fit just kind of as a permanent fill, maybe we'll do that as well. But I guess what I'm trying to say more than anything is, the show's going to go on, and, bear with us while we figure out what we want to do. But that's the state of things right now. So I'm sure there's going to be questions. So we'll have you guys maybe ask a few questions at the end of the show here. But It's not a personal thing. We're not kicking Sinister out. You know, it's not like, hey, you didn't do a good enough job. No. Like if he could,
I just wanted the green box.
If he could have my box. I'm not doing a good job. I'm just here to run the show. I don't have any opinions. I don't know. So yeah, so that's the state of things. But thanks again so much for being a part of it, Sinister One. We couldn't have done it without you, and you know we love you. So
because that's
there it is. You can break the box there. That's fine. That's
right.
If I could do the same, I'm like trying to, but my hands just aren't there. It's tragedy.
Oh my god.
The hugs.
All right. Well, on that note, I'm going to throw this one to Sinister One because I think this is one that he wanted to be on the show in the first place. So I would like you to narrate this glitch, please, if you would do that. Will you do that?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Let's get it going here. I'm going to switch it over.
Let's cue
this week's glitch, please.
Glitch, please.
What's going on?
Such a good segment. Well, Migatsas, you know, speaking of monkeys, we were talking about that earlier. He's playing a little DKC2 here. He's got it going on, you know, things are going well. He's riding the spider. The webs are coming out. He's trying to get a little switch going, and then something's going to happen here. I mean, you know something's going to happen. Is it good? Is it bad?
I've only got two.
Is it weird? Yes, it's weird.
What?
It's glitch, please. Yeah.
Really?
So he basically just kind of
Really?
tried to pull a switch, and
Really?
looks like Diddy got stuck there.
I just
So
soft locked the game.
he's doing a monkey marathon of his own. He's really
I have
walking
no
in place
idea.
for many miles.
Yeah, he's not
going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere. This is, by the way, worth pointing out, 50 minutes into a blind race that happens. So
Right.
absolutely brutal. Thank you for that submission, but sorry for your loss.
Yes.
And just a reminder, just a reminder that these are submissions submitted by ordinary viewers like you. Thank you. You can do that right over here at our lovely social media. So did I get it right this time? I always get it wrong. I got to keep track. There we go. I got it right this time. Excellent. So I guess it's time for chat to have an opportunity to ask some questions as well. So let's do that. It's time for the boss rush. And all right. While we wait for the questions to trickle in here, anybody
You've always had one, since
Yeah,
you've
that's
always
right.
had one.
All right.
You got a pocket question?
We'll break out the pocket question, Mike. I think what everybody wants to know is, when are you streaming Subterranea?
You know what? Playing Subterranea again in your stream does make me re-motivated to play Subterranea again. I've always wanted to improve my record, and because I've played the game so much, I will finally admit that I love the game.
Yes!
I don't know if it's probably not because the game is good, but it's probably Stockholm Syndrome, but close enough.
There you go.
It is a legit game, even if it's not necessarily a good one, and I think I can handle the pressure finally.
You can handle the pressure.
Here, let me show you guys. Just give me a second.
Uh-oh.
We're getting a prop here.
Okay.
Mike's gonna be right back.
All right. While he bees right back, I have a pocket question for Sinister One.
Okay.
All right. You get all this free time now that you're not gonna have to, do meeting with us and all that. What are you gonna do with all your free time? Is there gonna be vacations in Hawaii?
What am I gonna do?
Can you handle the pressure?
Uh-oh.
I don't know if I can handle the pressure of Golden's question.
Yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that, but
all this free time.
All that free time.
I mean, honestly, it's probably just kind of a boring answer, but I mean, most people know that I do have a full-time job, and when you do have that, it kind of cuts into your time, and your weekends are really short, and you feel like, oh man, there's so many things that I need to do, like just silly stuff that you just can't get done during the week. And I mean, other personal stuff that I'm probably not going to go into too deep,
sure.
But it's just, it'll be nice to have that extra time each week to kind of explore and see things that, what I am going to do with it. So, you know what? I'll tell you what, Golden, ask me that question again next time if I come back as a guest.
There we go. I'll ask what you've been doing with all that.
What have you been doing for you?
That's right.
Sleeping.
Just chilling.
Watching movies.
Making fun of that final split show. I'm watching it every Saturday. All right. Well,
they're great. Sinister One, the great shit poster.
There you go. That's he's
actually asked a really good question.
He's going on the forums there. Go ahead.
He asked about how do you judge the success of ESA when they made it clear they aren't focusing on the charity aspect as much? And that's a good question. I guess the way you would focus on it is, I guess, from a stream standpoint, maybe viewer count or viewer reactions to ESA. Although that's also very hard to judge because, you know, every community or just everyone has their own different opinion. Or just, you know, how happy people are to just attend the event, period, really.
That makes sense. I have another quick question.
I mean, it's definitely harder to judge, you know, because for a GDQ, it's like, oh, you know, it's like, I mean, generally people are happy to be a GDQ, so that's not too hard, you know, that's not too tough, and, you know, people keep on coming back because they like it, but at the same time, you know, we can judge it by, you know, donations, viewer count, etc.
Yeah. Quick question here from Lagram12. Mike, will there be a Chicago-thon this year?
I think so. They're at least planning a Midwest meetup of some sort. I don't know if there'll be a stream for it.
Okay.
Somebody asked about records that Mike has. Mike has so many records, he probably can't name them all. Let's see if you can do it. Come on, Mike. Do it.
I don't know if I can name them.
Do it.
Does this include PBs or actual, like, games?
World records, they were saying. World records.
Okay. Contra Shattered Soldier.
That's one.
Subterranean, obviously.
That's two.
It's not Ernest Evans anymore.
So
That's
you up.
I know.
Ernest Evans.
I guess Shinobi 3. I don't think anyone's beaten it.
I don't think Zost beat it.
Yeah, I don't think Zost has beaten it. There's a lot. Not TMNT 4 anymore.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Not Metal Slug 3 anymore. Not Metal Slug 1 anymore. A lot of them have been beaten. Castle Crashers. That's one I think I still have. I mean, a lot of my records are so old that it's like it's hard for me to remember. I know my Gunstar Heroes record was actually recently beaten.
Oh, my bad.
You faked out there, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure I have some more, but I'm really having trouble remembering off the top of my head what I have, just because I've done a bunch.
Don't you have some like?
I have some Contra Hardcore.
Yeah. Oh, Contra Hardcore.
Okay. I don't have the Mega Man Zero records anymore. Those have been beaten.
Oh. All right. Well,
that's
if you want to see more. Yeah. You want to see more of Mike's records, go on SDA, and you'll probably find another 15 that he forgot.
Yeah, a bunch that he doesn't remember, yeah.
Yeah.
I do have the co-op record for Altered Beast.
Altered Beast. We just played that. Too. It's 2 hours.
I guess I have a quick question here before I get too sidetracked. Are you guys going to do a co-op stream tonight, or following the show?
We are planning on it. Yes.
Okay, excellent. So you guys should head over. You guys are streaming on Sinister One stream, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
yes, I have the record for Sunset Riders.
Yeah, Sunset Riders.
Oh, there you go. I
can't believe I forgot that.
All right, so I just wanted to make sure, so like everybody in the chat knows, you guys should go over to Sinister One stream once we're done here.
We're gonna eat some food first.
Yeah.
After that, we will be doing a stream.
There'll be a brief intermission, but you guys will be back. Yes. A couple of people asked questions about second stream. Just what were your thoughts on the second stream, and do you think it would be possible to do something like that for AGDQ, or if it was to be used in AGDQ, what kind of extent would it be used?
I did watch the second stream. You know what? It did confirm my suspicions of that one stream is going to be the A stream and one stream is going to be the B stream, no matter what. Like whether it's how well promoted the stream is or just what game is being played or whatnot. One stream is going to be the A stream, the other stream is going to be the B stream. Whether that's in ESA's case the blue stream or the yellow stream. I know that flipped around a bit, but I just feel like at our current state, I'd rather just focus on like one game at a time, just to give that game its full attention. And if we did do a second stream, I feel like it should be more for interviews and backstage stuff, and maybe the occasional casual thing here and there. So we're not really taking away from the speedruns of the event.
That makes sense. I guess so. Then, would you say that a fair possibility of a second stream would be just kind of more events going on in the practice room, like Melee tournament, things of that nature?
Yeah, possibly.
Fighting Masters, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, we also have to have, like, the setup for it.
Right.
I think we're more focused on getting just the first stream up to par. Although we're definitely making a lot of progress within the last couple of GDQs on getting improving setup in the first stream. So.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Do you guys see any other questions there? I'm kind of scrolling through, but I think I'm all caught up. So.
The chances of SGDQ being in the Midwest, to the person who asked, I don't know. We feel like the Denver area works pretty well because it is an international hub. If we had trouble finding a space in the Denver area, then maybe we'd move to the Midwest, but it wouldn't be any further than the Midwest because we want an option that's more available to people further out west in the U.S. That was the original aim of SGDQ.
Okay. I think let's see. Okay. I thought I saw a new question and then it turned out to be the same question just reworded.
Sure.
Excellent. Okay. Favorite run from any marathon?
Ooh.
Dang. Okay.
That's brutal.
That's a tough one.
What is the best movie of all time?
That's right.
That's basically what we got asked.
That's basically what it just got asked there.
I'm gonna go with Sinister's Punch Out.
That was.
I'm
really
gonna go with
yeah.
Sinister / Zallard. I'm gonna go Sinister / both of the blind Punch Out runs from AGDQ this year. That was.
He's blushing.
That came up on the Richter scale of hype. So,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That definitely generated hype throughout the entire room. Speaking of runs with good energy, that was definitely one of my favorite runs. My favorite run, though, I'm just gonna have to do a choice from left field. I'm gonna say the Final Fantasy VI run from CGDQ,
okay,
because it was just kind of proof that we did it and we made it, and that we did a marathon, and there was such just a good atmosphere in the room. We were just so happy that the marathon worked. We broke our donation goal, and that we crushed all expectations with our $11,000 raise. That even though we didn't know that it was going to be an ongoing thing, we definitely knew that we wanted to have another marathon.
Okay. Sinister One, do you have a favorite of all time?
Well, obviously there's Super Metroid, which is, I'm such a Super Metroid nerd.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go a little old school. Actually, watching Frezzy Man play Contra at CGDQ was definitely a big one because I'd never. Well, first of all, I was a huge fan of Frezzy Man just because he had so many runs at that time, and now people barely even new people are who's Frezzy Man? I'm like, what? How can you say that? That's blasphemy.
How could you say that with our newer count of 1,500 people maximum?
Maximum.
But yeah, he does the Contra run, which is epic. His thumb is vibrating like a cell phone that somebody left on vibrate on the table. It's just mashing the crap out of the
right.
What's happening? And then he rips his shirt off. So yeah, I mean that was pretty big.
Yeah, I mean I'm tempted to go with Super Metroid as just it was the most fun for me to be a part of. Just the dynamic that we had on the commentary. The run was really close. The energy in the room was there. I'll never forget that. So I'm tempted to pick that, but then I feel like that's copping out if I pick that.
Right. That's why.
So now I'm stuck, and I feel like I'm just gonna pick something out of left field, and I'm gonna go with the Mario Sunshine run that Tofu did. With the
that was a lot of fun.
That was just a room full of people who wanted to have a good time, and that. I think that just kind of showed that the run itself can be good, but the people in the room having a good time can kind of carry the run too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was at 3 a.m. too or something. So we're just tired and having fun.
It was so I see a lot of mentions of Metal Wolf Chaos, and I agree. That's definitely high up there for me.
How happy that was the latest ad possible to the schedule.
Yeah, it was.
There was no way it was.
And Romscout was so hesitant about it, and I remember being really salty he cut it in the first place. It was the only game I was really salty about.
And then getting it brought back.
I even kept on saying during your game stream, like, I'm mad about this cut. Like, I think I said at least 5 during your stream.
Nice.
Like, I'm mad about this cut. Should have cut it.
All right, guys, it's about that time. Let's wrap it up here. It is time for the speech. And with great enthusiasm, I throw this over to Sinister One.
All right, because I do have a speech.
I feel like you get to give the speech.
You know, I want to, first of all, I want to reiterate what I said earlier. I really just enjoyed my time here, and it's really fun. And anybody, if you have the opportunity to do something fun with your fellow community members, you should just go for it. And, you know, because you're going to have a great time, and it'll be a lot more fun in different ways that you weren't even really expecting. But on that note, I do have something else to say, and that is that you guys are all gonna be like me one day. You're gonna get old. You're gonna get old.
Here we go.
You cannot avoid it. So when that happens, see, sometimes real life will get in the way. So what I want to say to you guys is just try to enjoy things right now. Because, you know, once it goes by, it's gone. You can't get it back. So really just try to enjoy every moment of this. Where the community is right now is in a really great place, and things just keep getting better. So you really got to kind of treasure these moments, because eventually, you know, going to be old man Sinister. So
well, I couldn't have said it any better. I think that's a good wrap. I can tell, like, everybody's just like, oh, really, like, oh. So just to keep people informed, our next episode is next week, 8 p.m. Eastern. Same time, same place, all of that. Sinister One, will you give us the final farewell here? Do you know
you got to kick it off for me, though.
All right. I'll give you a little hint here. Your run is not over until
the final split.
There we go. We'll see you guys.